A good morning and a happy Monday, as always, here on this beautiful windy day. Today is going to actually be my last video on the subject of training the mind, and I think that this is an appropriate topic to end on, and it actually happens to be one of my, I guess you could say maybe favorite subjects to talk about and to contemplate, which is probably why I sometimes don't get invited back to a social gathering, but it's the subject of death and impermanence in life. And for all of us right now, it's something to at least talk about, right? So first off, I like to start by saying that the mind does have a tendency, right, to seek order and stability. And it also has a tendency to fear change and chaos. These are very natural tendencies of human beings, right? And I think sometimes back to contemplating certain spiritual poetry. An example is Genesis, the book of Genesis, where there's a beautiful garden, everything is great and good, and there's a serpent in the garden, right? Now, that's all I want to hit on to that piece is I think that's how the mind sometimes tries to organize the world, and you can see this in landscaping and things of that nature, where we have a tendency to want order, a certain amount of structure, and a certain amount of stability, and we have a tendency to panic when there's a serpent that enters into our garden, right? But the point is that all things in this world are temporary, right? The only unchanging thing in life, as we've all probably heard before, is change, right? Everything is temporary, everything is in flux. And this is it's a thing of beauty, right? And I've talked about the story, I know I've done this in a video before, it was the Iliad or the Odyssey, maybe even the movie Troy, where Achilles is talking to somebody and he tells her, she's a priestess of one of the gods, of the Greek gods, and he says, something you don't understand is that the gods envy us. They envy us because of our impermanence, because we don't live forever, because this beautiful blue sky and wind hitting my face could very possibly be the last time I see a blue sky or feel a breeze in my hair or face, makes it that much more beautiful and incredible. The gods envy us, is what he tells her. And the Taoists knew this truth of oneness with their symbol of yang and yin. If you're not familiar, it's a circle with half of it black, half of it white, but the importance of it is the black side always has a white dot and the white side always has a black dot, right? The importance of this is that life is constant flux, it's in constant change, right? When one is born, when one has life, this implies death. And when one dies, this implies life. There cannot be one without the other, but it is a constant change and flux of life. So this death and impermanence, I think, should not be something that is feared or tabooed or not talked about, but celebrated, right? The great change in our existence is death. The impermanence of things from day to day is a wonderful and beautiful thing. I once heard a spiritual teacher talk on this subject, and this guy was renowned, for 20, 25 years. He had traveled the world giving different speeches in all grips of spirituality. But at one point you could tell he was getting older, he's getting tired, and he said to his audience, he just stopped mid-speech and said, "You want to know what my secret is? You want to know what my true secret is to enlightenment and spiritual wisdom?" And everybody got real quiet and, sat forward. And he just says, "I don't mind what happens in life." And I think that is true training of the mind. That is true spiritual liberation, to love change, to really love change in your life, is to fully embrace and love life. We must understand that all structures in this world, whether it's a thing, whether it's a person, whether it's a thought, an emotion, all structures are unstable. And everything will pass, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Make a note to yourself that this too shall pass. If it's something very negative and something you're not enjoying, understand it won't last forever. It will eventually change. And if it's something absolutely beautiful, like your daughter holding your hand while she's taking you to go read a book in the morning, understand that this too shall pass. that I should fully embrace this moment and see it for the beauty it is, because even as beautiful as it is, it won't last forever. Now, to end this video, I want to talk a little bit about a great meditation teacher named Jack Kornfield. He writes some amazing books. Jack Kornfield is an expert in the field of meditation and mindfulness. He trained for years as a Buddhist monk. And at one point in his career, he sat with terminally ill patients of cancer, I believe, as they were dying. And he said there were 3 things that these people talked about nearing their last days and hours and minutes. And these 3 things they said that they talked about the most was not money, it was not work, it was none of these things. It was, did I love enough? Did I live fully? And did I learn to let go? Now it's this last piece that we're going to end with training of the mind, of letting go to the things that we need to let go to. Because clinging to things past the point that it's useful or here anymore will always be a road to suffering. Now remember, in life, there's going to be pain, there's going to be sickness, there's going to be death, and there's going to be suffering. But training the mind, true training of the mind, is about recognizing the self-created suffering that you have made in your own life and then letting it go. Thank you guys. As always, I hope that these videos help somebody. I really appreciate your time today and enjoy this beautiful day and week. Goodbye.